Thanks for coming to our session. In this session, we're going to be talking about teaching English to adults who raise or take care of or teach children. First, I'll give you an overview of two types of course materials. One is called English for Childcare, Language Skills for Parents and Providers, and English for Child Development, Language Skills for Parents and Providers. And afterwards, we're going to have some sharing from experienced teachers who've been involved in teaching these courses in colleges and adult schools and different kinds of situations, both in person and online, synchronously and asynchronously. So let's take a look first at English for Childcare. English for Childcare by Marianne Brems, Marsha Chan, and Julaine Rosner is a comprehensive text designed to meet the language requirements of adults who care for children. The learning material provides practice for high beginning to low intermediate language learners in the integrated skills of reading, writing, listening, speaking, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Users will learn to perform the following skills. 1. Respond appropriately to English sentences used in the childcare workplace, at home, and in school. 2. Participate in conversations in English with children, parents, and staff in childcare settings, at home, and in school. 3. Use level-appropriate grammar, orally and in writing, to communicate effectively with parents, teachers, and childcare providers about child-related topics such as illnesses and incidents. 4. Comprehend and respond appropriately to readings related to childcare and parenting, orally and in writing. Use vocabulary words and phrases frequently found in the context of childcare and parenting. And 5. Recognize selected aspects of American children's culture, such as songs, nursery rhymes, and games, and use these with children. The English for Childcare book and CD package is available from Sunburst Media. English for Childcare is also available as an e-book that you can download and read in Apple Books on your Mac and iPad. In the enhanced EPUB, the 200 sound files are embedded, so you're able to listen from your device without being connected to the Internet. For more information, access Sunburst Media. You've just seen the orientation to English for Childcare, the yellow book, which is geared toward high beginning to intermediate level English proficiency. And now let's go on to English for Child Development. As you may know, these are the only books that focus on both language proficiency and child development. And the green book is more for students at a higher intermediate to low advanced level of proficiency. Let's take a look now. English for Child Development, Language Skills for Parents and Providers by Marianne Brems, Marsha J. Chan, and Julaine H. Rosner, published by Sunburst Media. English for Child Development is an integrated skills textbook for English language learners. It teaches English to adults preparing for the field of early childhood education. It focuses on the academic language for students of child development. It gives practical assignments for communicating orally and in writing as childcare providers, in-service teachers, and parents. It embraces the linguistic and cultural diversity of children and adults, and it includes games, songs, creative projects, and problem-solving tasks. English for Child Development follows English for Childcare in addressing the needs of parents and childcare providers who are learning English for the specific purpose of advancing in their field. Let's take a look at some chapter openers. Chapter 1. Gathering Information About Children. The chapter goals are to develop and practice vocabulary and expressions to give and receive basic information about children, to recognize, develop, and practice skills to complete an accurate and objective running record about a child, to recognize, develop, and practice skills to reflect about a child's interests and background, to develop language skills for introducing children. Chapter 2. Documenting Development. The chapter goals are to develop and provide vocabulary and expressions for documenting the development of children, describing what children are wearing, writing a running record to document behavior, and to recognize the domains of development. Chapter 3. Describing children and their development. The chapter goals are to develop and practice vocabulary and expressions to describe children and their development, to identify origin and cultural or ethnic identity, to write an objective introduction and description of a child, and to write an anecdotal record and reflection. Chapter 4. Factors in Child Development. The chapter goals are to develop and practice expressions to discuss information about an environment, to fill out a childcare environment rating sheet, to describe a childcare environment objectively, and to write an observation and reflection on a childcare environment. Chapter 5. Socio-emotional development. The chapter goals are to develop and practice vocabulary and expressions to give and receive information about a child's socio-emotional development, to learn vocabulary and strategies to talk about pro-social and antisocial behavior, and to make oral and written reports, observations, and reflections about socio-emotional skills. Chapter 6. Motor development. The chapter goals are to develop and practice vocabulary and expressions, to discuss motor development, to converse with children about their actions using narration, to write an accurate and objective running record, and to write a reflection to express conclusions and make predictions. Chapter 7. Cognitive development. The chapter goals are to develop and practice vocabulary and expressions to discuss cognitive development, to recognize different kinds of knowledge and cognitive development, to reflect on a child's cognitive development, and to understand child assessment guidelines about causation. Chapter 8. Language and literacy development. The chapter goals are to develop and practice vocabulary and expressions to discuss language and literacy development, to give responses that teach children language, to encourage language development and literacy through the use of language, and to assess a child's speech and language. Vocabulary is presented in English for Child Development in a number of ways. Some vocabulary words are illustrated and placed in the context of sentences. These examples describe the actions of young children, showing important motor skills that they usually gain in their first 2 years. For example, she's lying prone, she's lying on her stomach, she's lifting her head and shoulders, and so on. This is an example of phrases to describe children's physical appearance, specifically the body, the skin, the eyes, the face, and the hair. Many new words are glossed as footnotes at the bottom of the page, especially in the reading passages. Every chapter has a vocabulary highlight, which focuses on 1 or 2 words central to the theme of the chapter. It promotes deeper study of the spelling, pronunciation, definitions, collocations, and usage of these words in grammatical sentences and appropriate situations. Every chapter has a word forms section in the back of the book, which helps learners identify suffixes to recognize members of word families. Each chapter includes at least 1 reading passage targeted for intermediate to high intermediate English language learners that presents a topic relevant to the domains or stages of child development. The reading passages in this book include topics such as domains of child development, growth and development, factors in child development, socio-emotional development, motor development, cognitive development, and language and literacy development. English for Child Development introduces students to 3 excerpts from the Desired Results Developmental Profile, DRDP, a formative assessment instrument developed by the California Department of Education for young children and their families. Its purpose is to enhance instruction and program development. Each reading is followed by exercises that help explain the content and make it more accessible. For example, this activity focuses on the organization of the reading, calling attention to key points. Pre-reading questions introduce the topic of the reading, connecting it with concepts previously introduced, engaging learners' prior knowledge, and leading learners to make predictions that will enhance their understanding of the reading passage. Following every reading passage is a reading and vocabulary analysis section. Post-reading discussion questions help students master the content and connect concepts with practical child development experiences. There are ample opportunities for students to learn and practice aspects of English grammar, writing, and editing in the context of child development. Different facets of the English language are explained and exemplified in easy-to-read language focus boxes adjacent to the learning activities. These include grammar and syntax, vocabulary and expressions, and strategies and structures for specific language functions. Here's an example of a language focus box on real conditional sentences in present and past time. The language focus is followed by an activity on making sentences with the target structures. These exercises on active and passive voice, both the one on completing sentences with the proper verb forms and the one requiring students to find and correct errors, demonstrate that all grammar and language patterns are embedded in topics related to early childhood development. Writing assignments include instruction on how to read, understand, and approach a response to a writing prompt typically found in a child development course. As these examples show, students practice sentence completion, sentence combination, and sentence creation. They write paragraphs and dialogues. They respond to questions of fact and opinion. They fill out various forms to assess children and childcare environments. Most writing assignments are done individually, but others are done in groups, especially when the observation of children is an essential part. The appendix has a section on sentence structures and mechanics tailored to the audience of this book. It is intended to be used as a resource to provide supplementary material and act as a handy and brief reference. Guided listening activities provide learners with spoken and written input about child development topics. Here's an example of a listening close activity focusing on cognitive development, followed by a dictation activity. Activities focusing on aspects of pronunciation, stress, and connected speech help learners develop fluency and comfort, as well as increase their oral intelligibility through dialogue practice. Interaction among class members through dialogues and role-play activities builds skills and creates community. Students strengthen their use of English grammar, vocabulary, listening, and speaking while reflecting on real experiences and solving childcare dilemmas. Dictation synthesizes language and child development concepts, supports comprehension, word recognition, and spelling, and connects spoken and written language. Every chapter presents both teacher-led and student-to-student dictation. Songs generate fun and interest, contribute to children's skill development and confidence, harmonize with the theme of a chapter, and stimulate language learning. Throughout the text, students are provided opportunities to complete extension projects involving a multitude of skills. These include guiding children to write bilingual booklets, reading a particular type of children's book and writing an evaluation of it, and observing children and writing reports that comprise introductions, running records, and reflections. For more information about English for childcare and English for child development, language skills for parents and providers, contact Sunburst Media. And now I'd like to talk about some practical applications and how they're being used in schools. So I present to you Julaine Rossner, She's one of the authors of both of these books and principal in terms of developing the programs at Mission College in Santa Clara and spreading them out to other areas such as Santa Clara adult education programs. And we have Nina Delona also here. Maybe you can talk a little bit how you're using the programs pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, a little bit about like in the classroom, as well as if you're online, whether you're doing it synchronously or asynchronously, whether you're doing it all in one semester or spread out over periods, or what is your level? What are the students like? Tell us about it.
Well, I am teaching English for childcare and English for child development in two separate classes. One is at the English for childcare is at our community college. It's all online, synchronous. And I teach English for child development this semester in collaboration with Santa Clara Adult Education. And I'm teaching one class of each. And Nina, you taught English for childcare at which adult ed?
Oh, with Eastside.
At Eastside. And you
Eastside
taught...
is in San Jose, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so we've both been participating in the collaboration between community college and adult ed, and offering these classes to adult ed providers. And at Santa Clara Adult Ed, there's also a child development transfer level class that's being offered. So they alternate between two child development classes. And currently at Mission, we have 7 classes devoted to this topic of contextualized ESL.
7 classes is a lot.
Yeah, 7. 3 classes, we use the yellow book, English for Childcare, and we just approved 4 classes to use the green English for Child Development book. The yellow English for Childcare classes at Mission are all non-credit, but the green the English for Child Development classes are what's called mirrored. So we offer them as credit and non-credit, and the students can choose which one they like to take. And it's a lot to have so many classes, but we just offer typically 1 through just Mission. Recently, we've started just offering 1 through Mission and 1 with the adult school every semester. So we just kind of take it up the strand and offer them one by one.
All right. So just in case, I'm not sure who is in our audience and whether we have other teachers who have been using this or not, or there are people who are going, maybe we should institute this in our school. Mission College uses the yellow English for Childcare book in 3 classes. Currently, they're non-credit, right? They used to be credit, but now they're non-credit. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And
yeah, and
for the green book, English for Child Development, you developed 4 separate classes, which are also sequential.
Yes.
Is that right? And they are offered for credit as well as non-credit. So that's what you mean by mirrored, right?
Yeah, we're just starting this at Mission College, and it's a practice that other colleges have taken up, where we have non-credit and credit students in the classroom at the same time. So students, for example, who are earning financial aid or need to take a credit class for whatever reason, they can take it for credit. But people who just want the class, they can take it for free with non-credit.
Okay. Great. Well, that's good to have those options, just in case you're at a college where you can consider whether to be credit or non-credit. So the ones who are taking it for credit are getting units, and they're going to go toward their graduation, and they may be going into this field and need to get some sort of certification. And then there are a lot of people who are parents and grandparents, they just want to learn the material, but they don't really care about getting college credit, so they can take it as a non-credit class. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, cool. So Jeff has a question. Is there a way a college program could obtain review materials? Yeah. That you can see a direct applications for courses at my college. Yes, yes, indeed. So what I'd like you to do, two things, Jeff. If you would write an email to info@sunburstmedia.com, which I'll put in the chat, so info@sunburstmedia.com, and tell us what you're interested if you like both of them. We will definitely send you out the PDF version that you can preview each of the books, and then what I'll do is send you like a little package that includes the PDF of the book along with some sample audio files. As you know, the ECC book has a CD which comes with it, but we also have it available online. So I believe that, now all of us are teaching through Canvas or, through other LMS. We provide you with a link that you can give your students to get all of the materials online so they can go down and listen to it on their phone and while they're riding on their exercycles and so forth. So both ways are available, and like 200 files for the ECC. Also, there is my channel on YouTube. Some of you may already know that I'm the pronunciation doctor on YouTube. So when you go to the pronunciation doctor YouTube channel, there are 3 playlists for English for childcare, because I do a lot of video. So I did this a lot with my students, so you can see me interacting with students. So when you do the ebook, of course, you just get the files. But when you do the videos, where you can watch how I'm presenting them, and then you can see sort of interaction of the students who are taking the class, and how you can sort of motivate them, inspire them to engage in the materials. So there are 3 different playlists, because I think the first 3 chapters, the second 3 chapters, and the last 3 chapters are all in different playlists, and then there's scores of videos available for you to watch there. And I can also give you the links to certain blog posts. MarshaProfDev.blogspot.com is my blog space, and I have a couple of places where I've talked about or written about English for childcare and how the courses have benefited students and how they've been able to go through the child development program more successfully. And then it links to some videos that Jelaine and I have done for webinars, where we've given webinars in the field of child development, where of course there are many non-native speakers who are in the field, and they profit from some of the expertise that we offer. So definitely there. What else can you tell us about teaching the courses in class? Share with us.
Well, they're a lot of fun. We
Yeah,
have
I
a really
love
good time. And yeah, and I think people enjoy the practical nature of the classes. And it's just, they learn a lot about English for culture and English, American culture through their children, and they really respond to just learning about content and the things that their children are learning. They really enjoy it. And we're all virtual now. Who knows how long that'll go on, but I'll give you some links to some of the online games that we've been playing to give you a sense of some of the interactive games that we usually do with cards or, as mixing activities, but you can't really do that online. So just to give you kind of a sense of how we kind of how we make that virtual leap into the classroom. I wonder what Nina would have to say about how it's going, how it went for her offering these classes, because she's taught them several times as well.
Just like what Jelaine said, I love teaching these classes, and they're so fun, and the students really find them very helpful. So I've taught English for childcare, both for just our college students and also with Eastside Union School District. And most of our students, they include single students who don't have any children, but they just want to work in the child care field. We also have child care owners, and those classes have been really helpful for them. We have grandmothers, we have mothers, so several students have really found these classes helpful. And so I've taught the non-credit portion of these classes. And pre-pandemic, so there was a part in our book that talked about singing time, and so that's one of the things I love to do with the students. And so we'd actually do an actual singing time with the students, and so we do that together. But with online, we were still able to do that. And I love how um, students were also able to share things from their culture, such as lullabies that they've sung like growing up, and singing time songs, and they were able to compare and contrast what they have in their own culture to the American culture, and things like safety. I love how there's a unit on safety, and the students were able to think about, okay, how can I make my environment safe for my children and for the people around me? And so they were able to do writing exercises, speaking exercises, pronunciation exercises, all about safety. I've also love how there's the book report components, like the projects that the students do for these classes have been so helpful, not just about thinking about grammar and writing, but they're actual practical, very practical exercises and writing topics that allow the students to think about, what they're doing day to day, and also things that they want to do later on, and then use that. And so it's very meaningful. So again, I love teaching these classes.
That's so great. I'm so glad, Nina. Yeah, the book reports are, books for children that our students, report on. And in the English for Childcare book, it's kind of it's more of a report. Whereas in the English for Child Development book, we have a more advanced book report, but it's more like an analysis, and we examine tender topics, books about, difficult situations that families and children go through, and examining how books can kind of help, start conversations and help parents and children to work through difficult topics together. So it's, and like Nina said, it just kind of combines all these listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It just pulls it all together. We've been having a really good time.
And one of the things that I really enjoyed doing is this at at Mission College we have a child development center, so there are actual children, who are in the center, and I had my students go to after practicing in our class, we had to do the book report. First, choose an appropriate book, examine it, talk about who it's, what level it's good for, and then they had to do practice presentations in class with partners on reading and showing their book, not looking at the book like this, but showing their book and then reading through it and talking about it, engaging the students in what they see in the visuals. And then they went to the child care center, and their partner with their with their phone, their partner would video, not the child but their partner reading the book. And we got a lot of really cool documentation, of them doing this exercise. So that was lots of fun. It gave them a lot of purpose and confidence, because some students had not done it. Now, with the ones who already work with children, they were familiar with working with children, but there were some students who never had yet, but they were thinking about it, and they were like scared, because it says, I'm going to go and read an English book to somebody. And I said, you know what? The kids look like you too. I mean, they are the children of people who are like you. So relax and have fun and they learned a lot about their own skills and their ability to overcome some sorts of fears about speaking and reading and being a model of English. And Jelaine, want to expand on that?
I gotta just chime in. So Marsha, I brought the students to the child care center, I usually just had the students sit in class and present it in small groups,
Right,
right?
I
Because
did that
I,
too. Yeah.
yeah, but in the pandemic, you can't go to a child care
Yeah,
center.
how do
So
you do
what
it?
I've been doing, it's been amazing. It took a little, it was hard, the technical skills, but basically the students recorded themselves at home. And of course, with phones, it makes it so much easier back than when we were starting this in the 2000s. But so they record themselves at home, and
Yeah.
they can either present their book to a doll,
Uh-huh.
or some of them, yeah, it really works well having them present to a doll who never laughs at their English, never never
Yeah.
complains, or they present it to some of the childcare providers, recorded themselves presenting to a group of kids.
Mhm.
And then some of them, just presented it to the camera. So it was really interesting and nice. And then what I did is I put all those little clips on VoiceThread, and students
Yes.
could watch each other
Right.
and comment.
That's so
It
fun.
worked great. I mean, it was a little hard,
Jelaine,
but
we also did the doll thing. I love, so one of the songs that we learned was Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes. So
head, shoulder.
one of the, not the kids, but one of the students showed their doll and how they would use that with the doll
Head, shoulders,
as
knees, and
well.
toes.
Yeah. And so they love that. Yeah, we used VoiceThread as well. And I did what Marsha did pre-pandemic, where I took the students to the child care center at Mission. But one of the nice things about technology, like during the pandemic,
Mhm.
with my child care owners, they were able to show their space.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
and
super.
what they usually do. And we were able to share like how they would teach a song. And so it was so helpful for the others who, who did not have childcare experiences
Yeah.
to learn from one another. So there were times where I was like, okay, they would just talk to one another and ask things, about what they do to one another. And so that developed, their listening, their speaking, their comprehension. And so I love like this community that's being built in class with those students, and the activities they're just geared for building a community. And the students, they would share books that they would read to the students and how they would do them. And so that has been so nice to do it on VoiceThread as well. And we had a collection of books that you can read to others, and so we were able to make a list out of that.
That's, that the technology has a lot of benefits. I mean, we've all tried to figure out what are the pros and cons and what are some advantages and disadvantages. And the advantages, as we are learning about all the different ways that we can use the technology, it's been very expansive in terms of, using VoiceThread, or if you use Padlet, or if you use some other app where you can share your students videos, then they do gain the sense of community that we may have felt a loss of at the very beginning of the pandemic, when we couldn't see each other and we couldn't touch each other's strollers and do a role play in class with the actual childcare implements. But doing stuff by video and audio in the different kinds of apps like VoiceSpread, or maybe some of you know others where you share the videos and can comment on each other. That's terrific. That's really wonderful, and has allowed a lot of students the ability to come to class where they wouldn't have come to a face-to-face class so easily, especially because if they're in the field of childcare providing already, they're busy all day, right? So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
been a game changer, honestly, that these classes are online. I mean, I'll see a child. I have a lot of family childcare providers, and they're still, their class starts at 6:30. They're waiting for a parent to come pick up the child, and yet they're in class. And sometimes the kids love to watch our class, Marsha. They're like, Mom, you're singing head, shoulders, knees, and toes. You're doing nursery rhymes. They're interested. So but it's just really convenient for these mainly moms, mainly women who are really, really busy. And actually, next semester, our classes will continue to be online. And I feel like just the going online has really sort of bridged a digital divide, which I noticed a lot of in this childcare. A lot of my students didn't really have the computers or phones, but they've got them now, and we're
Yeah, and
reaching
they
them.
really stepped up, right? I'd
Yeah.
also like to say that one of the courses that was taught at the adult school by Marina Broder, who I invited here, perhaps she's not here now, she did this class totally asynchronously. So it was an online class, but she didn't do the Zoom thing that, most of us are familiar with. So I was hoping she'd be here to talk about that, but maybe if you know something that I don't
Oh,
about how she did
well,
it, you could
yeah.
tell us some
So
tips in
she
case anybody's interested.
Well, I'm sure Nina could add to this, but Canvas has been just great. It's been so useful. And over the years, between Marsha's class and my class and Marina's class and Nina's class, we've built up a really good archive of materials that we share. And so Canvas is awesome. And then VoiceThread. I think that Marina uses VoiceThread. I'm starting to use Padlet a lot more. I've been using WordWall for
Yeah.
practicing games that I might usually use cards for.
That's great. We should look to Mission College to see, premier collaborations. If you're interested in getting any of these materials to review, please simply write to info@sunburstmedia.com and we will send you a number of things that will help you take a look at the materials, both in the text form as well as with some audio files. So a lot of kids, what happens when we teach our adults are playing the music, especially if they're doing things at home now, and the kids are following along, and they they kind of want to hear it too. Yeah, mom, play that again. So it's
Yeah.
really fun material, right?
It's really fun, and we might think that nursery rhymes, that's not for adult ed, but it incorporates they have to learn the words, they have to learn the rhythm, they have to learn the rhymes, and they need to incorporate gestures. And so this is just a simple way to get across to these adult caregivers that they are their child's teacher, that they are teaching vocabulary, that they need to show the meaning of words with gestures and show the meaning of words with their voice. And I think it really empowers them to kind of act things out. And it's really we get them to practice the words to nursery rhymes. We practice gestures. I mean, just like in little blips in every little class we practice. And then for a test, they recite the nursery rhyme or sing the children's song. Everybody has to do it. And it's a great way to get them to practice their own English, and also to emphasize that they are teaching language when they, sing songs and read books and do nursery rhymes for children.
And I'd like to say that the ones that we curated for the book are not just willy-nilly. We really did think about what is the content of this and how does it relate to the theme or the concept that we're presenting in every chapter, right? So they're carefully chosen, right? Great. Okay, well, we're coming to the end of our hour, and I'd like to just see, is there anybody in the audience here who has also used English for childcare or English for child development?
Hello,
Hello. Hello.
this is Dominica
Hi,
with
Dominica.
San Juan Adult Education. Yes, we are using the yellow one,
Oh,
English for
okay.
childcare.
And what is the school that you're at?
Uh, Sacramento, San Juan Adult Education.
Oh, right. San Juan Adult Ed. Okay. Uh-huh.
So cool. How's it
And
going?
I'm not the teacher, but what I heard, the teacher and the students, they love it, and it has a lot of activities and all that. And the teacher said that it can be just for parents, or like somebody mentioned, grandma, grandpa, anyone who is caring for a child.
Oh, I also want to say I have a few elder care providers. I have a few people who are taking care of their elder parents, and some of the activities are really, I mean, it's the same language. It's caregiving. So, Dominica, I'm so glad to hear that.
The teacher wants it to uh, like start another class that is open not just for child care workers, but for anyone, any parents who are interested
Yeah,
to
it's like
help their kids or understand their kids.
Yeah, it's kind of two sides of the conversation, really. And in the yellow book and in the green book, there are a lot of strategies. I mean, anybody who takes care of children knows that it's not easy, dealing with, just working with kids and convincing them, getting them to cooperate. So there's some really great strategies for communicating with toddlers who can be so stubborn. And in the green book there's some strategies for managing conflict, so they're really practical.
It's very, very practical. And if you are working with elders, now I have elders. I have way, way, way elders that I am still supporting. And what happens when they go into the stage of dementia, they are like toddlers in some ways. So there are some strategies that are really quite useful to use at both stages of life.
When we first started doing the English for Childcare book, all the songs were on a CD that was like, it was a computer CD. Remember that, Nina? Remember that, Marsha?
Mhm.
And now they're all on this wonderful Sunburst Media housed website. So it's just great. I love that. You can just go straight to the page and there's just this really easy list of sound files to click onto. And so when I'm teaching online, I can, open my EPUB and then open the website side by side and just like point to the words. It works great. So Marsha, thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming, and thanks very much for our specialists, Jelaine Rosner and Nina Delona. Bye bye, everyone.